Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. Welcome back to your no-nonsense news update for the new patch that's just come out for Cold War Zombies. The most interesting thing about this patch that we're going to be focusing on throughout this video is that Treyarch actually hid certain changes from us and didn't include them in the patch notes. The reasons for this are unclear right now. I don't know if Treyarch were planning to release another patch note list in the future and we just haven't got to it yet, or they might have thought it would be better to just sneak some of these things in and give us a nice or nasty surprise when we actually jumped into the game itself. Either way, the good news is that you guys, my viewers who follow me on Twitter, were incredibly helpful in helping me to compile a list of everything that Treyarch tried to sneak into the patch without telling us. We'll start with Shadowfang1996's observation that zombie guts deal massively increased damage now compared to pre-patch. For those of you that are unaware, the zombie guts attack is meant to happen when you basically glitch into a spot where the zombies can't normally hit you. It's a really smart solution to basically trying to make sure that players stay within the playable area at all times, but it is a new feature and as such it's come with some growing pains. Fairly frequently the zombies will throw their guts when they are not supposed to, and this actually happens when you're on the truck bed in the pond doing that high round strategy. This wasn't an issue pre-patch. You could deal with the fact that the game was kind of glitching out every now and then by just getting off the truck and getting back on, and you'd sort of reset things, and the damage that they were doing was not high enough that you would just instantly get downed. But now it is that high. Genuinely, in like 3 or 4 hits from the zombies, you are dead. And I understand that Treyarch are trying to deter people that are doing glitches elsewhere in the map and actually exploiting the game, but when you're doing a perfectly normal strategy standing in the playable area where you can just mantle to very easily, you should not be getting insta-downed by just a handful of zombies throwing some kidney at you. At least in my opinion, but let me know if you disagree in the comments down below. Another hidden change found in the pond area of the map by Bishop Atkinson 1 is that megatons are going to spawn a lot more frequently now, it seems like, during exfils. I'm not sure if this change is equally felt across solo and co-op games, so if you guys could let me know about your experiences in the comments down below, that would be amazing, but it certainly seems like megaton spawn rates during exfils, and just megaton spawn rates in general, have been tweaked. There's also a change that a few people mentioned, including EXPLICITPLAY, that massively impacts speedruns of D Machine, and that's that you can no longer Ether Shroud teleport out of the boss fight and therefore get to the chopper much more easily when you're doing the Easter egg. This isn't the first time they've made a dent into the speedrunning strats on D Machine. They already changed the way that the Ether Scope skip used to work with the Coffin Dance Easter egg to make it so that that was no longer possible, and so people had to find new strategies to get around that, but this is huge because it forces you to do the boss fight and it's going to slow people's speedruns down a lot. There is another change actually to Coffin Dance found by Shop Class Card, and that's that the animation to go into the dance itself is now faster. You basically get thrown into the Dark Aether about 2 seconds quicker than you used to do, but your time in the Dark Aether is still the same, watching them dance and stuff, so don't worry about missing out on that. Another change mentioned by Gaming Man 110 that I figured I would signal boost is the fact that Self-Res and Chopper Gunner have swapped places on the crafting bench menu now, and this is definitely going to take a little bit of getting used to, just making sure that you are actually buying the right thing when you're trying to really quickly grab yourself a Chopper Gunner when you're doing the high round strat, for example, in the penthouse. Be careful guys, you don't want to walk out of there thinking you've got a chopper and then you get to the roof and you just go down because you don't have one. That would suck. An unrelated but still really interesting change comes to the Dark Aether Camo in the game. You guys might remember about a week ago I put out a showcase of Dark Aether on every single gun thanks to LEGO Unlocked, who managed to get it incredibly early, and now they've actually changed the way that Dark Aether displays on certain weapons. So, as an example, the M16, here is your before, and we'll switch over to the after now, recorded by LEGO, thank you mate, and granted, different attachments are being used here, but you can see that the coverage itself is actually changed. This comes in the wake of the multiplayer community now starting to get their DM Ultras unlocked for their weapons, and one thing I'm sure you'll notice is that while DM Ultra itself is a less interesting camo than Dark Aether, the coverage of Dark Aether compared to DM Ultra is so poor. We get so much less of the gun actually utilizing the camo, whereas their camo is just the entire thing looking like a space artifact of some kind that got found in the desert or something and then mysteriously disappeared. Like, these things look so sweet, and then Dark Aether's just like, oh yes, behind my grip you can see 1% of the weapon is purple. Anyway, I love Dark Aether, so I promise I'm not actually complaining here. One change that's been made to the UI of the game is that when you're going to Wunderfizz to buy a perk and you can't afford it, it's now grayed out, as found by SNAPPLEHATER. Speaking of new icons, if you go into the menus, there are green circles indicating something new on all of the skills. It's currently unclear if this means we're going to be getting an updated skill tree list soon with potentially tier 4 and 5 upgrades for all of those skills. That would be an incredible addition to Season 1 in my opinion to give us new stuff to grind for, but for now, this just seems to be a hint in that direction. The changes to the menus do not stop there because as SPMxMCBADBUNNY has pointed out, there are a load of new challenges and new calling cards to go with them. Amongst that stuff, as pointed out by LuanMara3, 2 new game modes have been teased for zombies. Now, the obvious assumption here is, oh my god, grief and turned? But unfortunately for now, we don't have exact confirmation of what they're going to be. However, there have been a lot of rumors floating around about new Christmas models being added to the game, and as such, my prediction would be that one of these game modes at least is some kind of Christmas update 4D machine that is basically the zombies version of like a festive Nuketown or something like that. That's my best guess right now. There are still some broken challenges in there, as pointed out by EXALTEDDAVETV, like the Zombie Hunter Mastery Challenge is completely balked, as are a few others, but one has been fixed, the Trapper Challenge that previously limited out or capped out at 255. So if you want to get that one done, you now can. That was actually in the patch notes. The final menu-related thing is that there's loads of new intel, and I'm going to quickly show you 4 radio locations now, as shared with me by Nightminer115. You just want to come over to where I'm standing, and on the first day of Christmas, my Treyarch gave to me a new radio on D machine. Okay, I'm never doing that again. The second one's just here. The third one's just here, and the fourth is just here. There's of course plenty you can get from the Trials machine as well, but these are the radios that I figured I would point out for you guys. Going back to hidden changes now though, there was a new one found by SmartGuy316 that I really don't like. To be clear, love Smart Guy, don't like the change. Basically, when you're going over to the armor station to upgrade the rarity of your weapon, you select the new rarity that you want to buy, and it switches your weapon to your other gun. So you basically have the wrong gun out, so you have to switch your weapon back to the original weapon that you had if you want to then upgrade your weapon again. And it's just like, why do this? I think it's in order to try and mitigate people doing weapon duplication and things like that, but it is also the sort of thing that I imagine Treyarch could revert back if the community makes enough noise about it. So Treyarch, please revert that one. There was also a bit of discussion going on about pack-a-punching overwriting your loadout camos on certain weapons, and this is a bug that's been in the game since launch. Unfortunately, it seems to still be happening, and Treyarch haven't fixed this one just yet. What they have fixed, though, is that the Raygun, and this is like my favorite change in this patch, now gets a pack camo when you pack-a-punch it, and my god, does this thing look good. I don't know why this wasn't in the game at launch, but hey, they've sorted it now. Every PAP tier for the Raygun now has its correct camo applied, and I just think it looks glorious. So Treyarch, I am really happy that you've managed to sort this one out. Thank you guys. These wonderful changes will not actually even be able to be seen by some players though, and that's because as found by SpyClub65, there's like a game verification bug going on right now where the game literally thinks you no longer own it when you boot it up. The best thing to do in these instances is to check which packs you've got installed, I think, in Battle.net and stuff like that if you've got it on PC, but it does really suck just not being able to play the game randomly, so this is a pretty unfortunate one. Moving to more mysterious things, Penguin Calling has found this, but I don't really know what he means, to be honest. Like, what is he talking about, dude? Does anyone have any idea what the deal is with this change? Because I'm clueless, but I'm intrigued. But I'm clueless. And I'm also clueless about this weird-ass find from G.DEETZ, who tweeted me to say that basically certain textures are like not appearing properly in his game when he does game capture. And so he's getting like weird text that is kind of shimmering across his screen, like completely randomly. I'm happy to admit that this might literally be like a complete nothing burger texture bug and there's just nothing here, but it really does kind of look like there's some kind of message that the game is trying to send this dude. So if you have any theories about what's going on here and what the thing is that's flashing on screen and what it all means, let me know in the comments for sure. And with that, we've reached the end of the list. Guys, let me know if you enjoyed this new video format. I'd love to do this every time there's a big patch and find all the secrets in there. And once again, big thank you to everyone that contributed and sent me stuff that they found in their games. You guys are amazing. I'm gonna have lots of zombies videos going up in the next few weeks, as well as some cyberpunk content. So if you're interested in that, you can look forward to it on the channel soon. But for now, I'll just sign out. Leave a like if you've enjoyed. Bye for now.